Hello and welcome to today's episode in which I show you how to make an easy and delicious spaghetti cake / pie. I got the idea for this recipe from Thug 101. Thug Kitchen has rebranded as something else and I can't remember what their new name is. The basis recipe is their crispy spaghetti pie. I made it a few times as is and then, as I like doing, started playing around and changing ingredients and doing different things with it. The recipe is just cooked spaghetti with other bits and pieces packed into a cake tin and baked. So the outside that's in contact with the side of the tin goes really nice and crispy. And then the inside is kind of soft, tender pasta. If you watch the jammy custard video that I did recently, I mentioned that I was just getting over a bad infection and I'm still not 100% recovered. And I also want to try and get 2 videos done today. So in a bid to kind of conserve my energy, I've done a lot of the prep off camera kind of thing, but I have filmed some close-up stuff where I thought would be useful. I'm going to bring a large pot of water up to the boil to cook off the spaghetti. I normally make this with just regular spaghetti, but I've decided to go for whole wheat this time. I think it's going to have more flavour and more texture, which will be really nice. When you want to open a packet of spaghetti, you can grip it kind of tightly and just slam it down. Although, be careful, because if there's a shorter piece at the side of the bag, it will pop through the plastic and give you a nice little bloody spot. This is a 500 gram packet of spaghetti, which is like £1/4 pound, I think. I'm going to drop that in. So I'm going to push it under the water. And there is like half a teaspoon or so of salt in the water. With spaghetti, you do ideally want a rolling boil to keep the strands separate. Look on the back of the packet, it should say how long it needs. Is that the bit? Oh yeah. That's the bit that just jabbed me in the hand. I'm going to make up the sauce / binding liquid now, and then at least it's done. I've got 400 gram can of tomatoes, and then I'm going to blend that up with 350 grams of silken tofu. The tofu is my addition. It's a little bit egg-like, so when you cook it, it sets a bit firm, so it just provides a nice bit of texture, but also a nice amount of protein as well. I'll blend these together, and then I'm going to put other bits and pieces in as well. But I don't want to blend the other bits down too much. You'll typically find silken tofu on the shelf rather than in the fridge. It's a nice shelf-stable one, so you can keep it in the cupboard. I'll do that in my jug. And then I'm just going to break that down a bit. Empty the can of tomatoes in. So I'll go in with the blender, just get this smooth. So that's all blended and consistent. Pasta's done, so I'm going to drain it. I'm going to use the remainder of this tube of tomato puree. That is probably 75 grams thereabouts. I'd say 1/4 cup, just to get a nice intense tomatoey flavour going on. Any of the ingredients that I put in, these are more advisory than prescriptive, so don't think, oh, I can only use the ones that Rachel's used. Feel free to put anything you like in here. I'm going to do a good couple tablespoons of mixed herbs. Some black pepper, maybe 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to do maybe 1/2 teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning. That stuff, if you haven't seen it before. I have looked online and you can get it in UK supermarkets. I'll do like a teaspoon of garlic granules, garlic powder, and then I'm going to stir that together and taste it because the Old Bay has got salt in it. I've also roasted the veg in salt, and I'm going to be putting some vegan bacon in there that's salty, so I don't want to overdo the salt level. And obviously the spaghetti was cooked in salt water. I'm going to do like a 1/2 teaspoon, let's call it a teaspoon of MSG, pinch of white sugar. Adding sugar to things like canned tomatoes just helps bring out the flavour a little bit. Well mix, I'll give that a try. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in. This is, I think, French sea salt that's got spices and other bits in it. So I'm going to do maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon, something like that. Yeah, good. All right. Air fried off some veg. I did 3 carrots, 2 medium white onions. Initially I did 3 ribs of celery, but I added in another 1 red bell pepper and 1 bulb of fennel. Poured over a couple tablespoons of olive oil, pinch of salt, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon or so of dried oregano, and the same of dried thyme. Mixed everything together into the air fryer. I did 160 degrees, and I think altogether it was about 40 minutes or so. I stirred it every 7 minutes. You can go a bit higher, but you're going to need to stir it much more often. Drop those in. I air fried 300 grams of chestnut mushrooms. I did them into like 6. A little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. Air fried 20-25 minutes, something like that, stirring every 5 minutes. This was 85 grams of walnuts that I toasted and then just broke down into small pieces. 1/3 of a cup or 75 grams of toasted sunflower and pumpkin seeds. In my bowl here, this was 6 vegan chorizo and then 120 grams of vegan bacon. And I, again, air fried those until cooked. I've got a pack of mixed olives, it's green and black. And they're in chili, and then there's some whole garlics. And I'll probably do those quarters. That's the amount of olives I've done. That's what's left. And then I am going to do all of the garlic. Just slice those roughly. I'm going to give this a bit of a stir before anything else goes in, just to get things combined. I'm debating whether to take some of the mixture out because I don't know if I'm going to get all of it in the cake tin. I'm going to add the spaghetti back in, and then I'll give it a mix, and then I'll add tofu mixture. I might hold that bit of pasta back as well, just in case. So I'm going to pour the mixture in, and then try and coat everything. Getting the tofu and tomato in there makes it a bit easier to combine. So now I'm going to try and pack everything into there. So that was a perfect amount. So now I want to go in and compress it as much as I can and flatten it off. The other video that I'm going to do now is pomme anna, which is thinly sliced potato, layered up, smeared with butter and baked. And I'm going to have both of these in the oven at the same time. I'm going to put this on the bottom shelf, potatoes on the upper shelf. And I'm going to cover this in foil because it's going to be in the oven for at least an hour. I think the potatoes need at least 45 minutes. And then once I've dealt with the potatoes and they're out of the oven, I'll take the foil off and let it brown. That's the amount of mixture I've got out of it, and a little bit of the spaghetti. Yeah, glad I held back. Trouble is, I'm gonna have leftovers for days. So when I'm gonna eat this spaghetti, I don't know. Maybe I'll snip it down into pieces and make pasta chips. I think I've still got some of the Twiglet mixture in the freezer. Okay. Once it finally is time to bake it, I'm going to put it on at 180°C. Mine's a fan oven. If yours isn't, you need to go 20 degrees higher. So that'd be 200, which is, so 180 is 350 Fahrenheit. Not fan, you're going to want to go up to like 400. Once it comes out of the oven, I'll leave it for 10-15 minutes just to relax a little bit, because then when I take the cake ring off, it won't collapse. This fabulous little spaghetti creation. It's looking amazing. Before I forget, I will show you my potato dish as well. So here is the pomme anna. So many carbs. Delicious, delicious carbs. So when you come to cut this bit, support the other side of it. Just give it something to kind of push against. Yum. I can show you the inside a little bit clearer, hopefully. No elegant way of doing this, so I was gonna have to cram it in my gob. Yum. Lots of really great textures. Some bits are soft, some bits are crunchy, and you've got different kinds of crunch because there's the nuts. Then the outside of the pasta is crunchy. There's quite bold flavours in there as well, but nothing is overwhelming. It's a dish that tastes and feels quite hearty, but not heavy. And the whole wheat pasta has added its own little character, which is very nice. I had it in the oven covered with the foil, probably an hour and a half, but it was under the potato dish. Even despite it being a fan oven, that is blocking some of the heat, so it won't have had, had it been on the middle shelf or the, the shelf above. I mean, you could try half an hour and then stick, if you've got a metal skewer, stick that and pull it out. And if it comes out with anything clinging to the skewer, just put it in for another 10 minutes. I'd say probably 45 minutes. Something like that. You just want to cook some of the tanginess out of the canned tomatoes and tomato puree. You want to take some of that aggressive tomatoey flavour away and just bring everything together into a solid piece. That's what that's the job that the oven's doing, as well as creating that texture on the outside. The idea's just come to me. I wonder if you could do, for people who don't like canned tomatoes, or if you've tried this and you want something different, might be worth spinach and silken tofu. So get maybe like 400 grams of frozen spinach, defrost it, drain it but reserve the liquid that comes out, blend in the tofu and maybe add small amounts until it's roughly the same consistency that I had with the tomato and tofu. You could do maybe pureed roasted peppers, that kind of thing. I think once you've got the basic recipe down, you can start adapting it, putting all kinds of different things in there, substitutions, that sort of thing. By all means, skip the tofu if you don't want it in there. It might not have the exact same hold. It might not be as cakey. I managed to burn my hand really badly on the frying pan when I was doing the potatoes. Forgot I had it in the oven and then just went and picked it up. I had to throw it down again real fast. So I had a water bottle insert in the freezer. I'm just gonna grip that for a while because it's starting to throb. Once I'd boxed off the potato video, I then pulled the spaghetti out, took the foil off, put it on the middle shelf. It was in there 5 minutes. And then I pulled it back out and squirted a bit of sunflower oil and brushed that around just to help get some even colour. And then had it in another 5, pulled it out, and then wanted a little bit more colour on, so I did another 10 minutes. So 20 minutes uncovered altogether. Yeah, maybe do half an hour covered and then the last 15 uncovered, that kind of thing. I'll probably make this again in a couple/few months. So I'll update the pinned comment because I'll do it, most likely, do it on its own. And then I can tell you the exact cooking times that I did. But 180 seems to have been a good temperature. Once I took it out the oven, I left it for like 5 minutes, then I debated whether or not to take the ring off because I was worried that it would just kind of collapse. But I did it in the end. So then took the ring off, took the thing from the bottom, the base, I guess. Oh, words are going, I'm getting tired. And it hadn't pulled away from the foil. So I put foil in and then oiled it really well. And I panicked that I hadn't put enough oil in. Started easing it back and it did pull away nicely. It was still hot, so I was kind of having to do a bit and pull away. But then I was like, I don't know if it cools down against the foil, would it then be a nightmare to get the foil off? You know, like if it cools down, does that lock in that adhesion? I don't know. So if you can, get the foil off while it's hot, just to be on the safe side. Oh, I tell you what would be nice with it. Basil dressing that I did with the lasagna. That would be really nice because it would add a really vibrant, fresh note to all the savoury, umami, tomatoey goodness. I'll link to that in the description for you as well. I'm going to say hello and a huge thanks to my community on Patreon. It's their monthly dues that helps me buy all of the ingredients for all of my different recipe ideas. I'll leave a link to my Patreon down in the description for you. There's different tiers, so pick whatever feels affordable for you. If you're on the lookout for lots more plant-based recipe inspiration and you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you tap the little bell icon, you'll get an alert as soon as I publish a new one. While you're waiting for the next one, have a look at this.